Welcome to The Grow Show, powered by Stihl. On The Grow Show, we share ideas, tips, tactics, and insights to help you grow your landscaping business based on our team's 40 years of experience running a landscaping company and working with other owners and their teams to do the same. New episodes are released weekly on Wednesdays. Here's your host, Marty Grunder.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever the case may be. This is Marty Grunder from Grunder Landscaping Company and the Grow Group. Thanks for downloading the Grow Show, powered by Stihl. Today, we're going to talk to Greg Cole from Cole Landscaping outside of Boston. I know you're going to love Greg's attitude and his story, but first, a reminder, you can get the latest edition of the Grow Show delivered to your phone, tablet, or computer by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts, or watch us on YouTube for an enhanced learning experience. The Grow Show is the greatest thing since my new granddaughter, Harlow Vivian, who was born a couple weeks ago. I just got back from meeting her for the first time. She's adorable and is healthy. My daughter, Katie, is going to be a great mother, and my son-in-law, Ty, a great father. I am so blessed. I'm fortunate to have the super team I have here at Grunder Landscaping Company, led by our president, Seth Flum, which enables me and my wife to be able to spend a ton of time in the coming years in the great state of Connecticut where they live. God bless Harlow Vivian. May you grow up to be a great landscaper, amongst other things. Now on to this week's edition of The Grow Show. Folks, The Grow Show is designed to help you grow your business so you can spend time away from it. So let's pay attention today. My friend Greg Cole. Greg, welcome to The Grow Show.
Hey, Marty, great to be here. Super excited. I love your podcast and everything you do for the industry. And something I didn't know, congratulations on your granddaughter. That is awesome.
So that's 2 grandchildren. And you know what that means, Greg?
What does that mean?
That means I'm old. So hopefully I've been trying to reverse the aging process. It's not really working too well. So I'll just keep trying. So
We're still waiting.
I know, I hear you. So you're outside of Boston. You are what I would define as a thriving member of one of our peer groups.
Yes, we are.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got in the landscaping business. Tell us about your family. Tell us about how you got to this point with Cole Landscaping.
Well, it's funny. I went to school for carpentry. I soon realized that I didn't like it. When I graduated high school, I went to a trade school and I went out and started working for a landscape company. A couple companies in, I started running 2 crews, doing some estimating, and I asked for a raise. So I got 50 cents, and now you're going to know how old I am because I got $10.50 total with no
Gotcha.
overtime and no benefits.
Yep.
I left then and I started my own company in 1991. Currently, right now we have 3 children. My oldest is 32 and he works in IT. My middle daughter is 30. She works in financial. And my daughter is in High Point University right now as a freshman. So
Yep.
I got
Great
all
school.
Yep. And I'm married
Love
to
that place.
Yep. And I'm married to my wife for 11 years right now, Barbara, and she's the better half of me.
I understand. Tell us a little bit more about Cole Landscaping, your business mix, your sales volume, how many employees, trucks. Just give us a little bit of a feel for the scope. I know we've got some great pictures of your facility and so forth we're sharing on the YouTube version here on the Grow Show powered by Stihl, but give us a little bit better understanding of your size here and what you're up to.
Right now, we're about 60% maintenance, 30% construction, 10% snow.
Yep.
We're at peak. We're about 65 people. We're just under 10 million.
Yep.
And we've got, I don't know, some 50, 55, 57 trucks, 30-ish loaders, might have more, might have less, and about 70 trailers. That's our mix. And yeah, we're just under 10 million. We're trying to break the ceiling.
And I know a lot of our clients in the Boston area have been lamenting the lack of snow there, I guess, the past couple of years, huh?
Oh, it's last year we had about 16 inches. The year before we had 11. And our
Which is just
average,
crazy for Boston.
I know, our average is 45 to 50, depending on the
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. And so has that affected the market out there? Like, have some people gotten out of it? Or are they still holding true? Like, if this goes back to normal, which, I'm relatively new to the snow, we're in it a big way now, but I know a lot of the smart contractors go by law of averages over a 5-year span. if a big one comes, is it going to be good for you? You going to be okay?
Yeah, we're gonna be fine.
Okay.
We're seeing a lot of companies, the smaller guys going out. They
Yeah.
can't compete on the insurance, and they just can't have the insurance
Right.
and the
Right.
equipment. And we see a lot of nationals coming in, but the nationals are quality. I'm just gonna say is not there.
Yeah.
And
I understand.
companies like us that do high quality, good amount of volume can serve us better than the nationals.
Right. What are some of the challenges you've gone through to get to Cole here today?
A lot. My biggest challenge was in 1997. I grew the business to about $1 million. That year, I know the exact name of the client, location. I took the job on. I underbid by about 50, 60,000, and then I
Ouch.
got burned by the client for 80,000.
Oh no, Greg. So how did you overcome that?
So we were about 250,000 in debt in 97, and in today's volume, and that's got to be half a million or more. Uh, I sought out a mentor, and obviously the peer groups and things like that really weren't around back then. And a good friend, a mutual friend of both of us, Richard Gottschalk, out of Boston.
Super guy. What a great
Awesome.
man. Yes.
You think about salt of the earth people, and
Yes.
he's just one of
And
them.
his wife, his kids,
Oh yeah,
he is such a nice person.
and
Shout out to Rich. He's probably listening.
he's gonna listen. Yep. Uh,
Yeah.
and he took me under his wing for about 3 years as a mentorship. And 26 years later, we're best friends. We probably talk 3 or 4 times a week.
Oh, that's awesome. I knew
And
you were friends. I didn't know you were that close. That's a great story.
yeah, and
What
there's so many other things. I mean, we're trying to make the transition right now to get 85% recurring revenue, so 85% snow and maintenance, and then just
why?
15% construction.
Why?
Um, Construction, there's a lot of risk, and if we don't manage it perfectly, the risk kind of gets away from you. Um, I love the maintenance model. It's just recurring. It's recession proof. It's easy to manage. Obviously, the margins aren't there as construction, but it's just easier to manage and scale. And if we're
Right.
going to where we want to go in the next 10 years, we need to be 80, 85% maintenance.
Right, exactly. And you well know, and I know you don't have thoughts of getting out yet, but if we're trying to, the best premise an owner of a landscaping company can always take, I don't see how you can debate me on this, is to set the thing up to sell. Not necessarily because you want to sell, but that's when you realize the utmost potential. If you think about how the business gets its utmost potential, it's one that can run without heavy involvement from the owner. And the model is just so much easier to train team members and to slot to get over those ebbs and flows with the budgeting. You go and take on $1 million construction job, and you need to buy $50,000 worth of specialized equipment, and here we go. So, yeah, that's a good strategy. I want to go back to the issue that you had in 97. What did you learn from being in debt $250,000 and making a mistake? Because I think back to many mistakes I made. Unfortunately, Greg, when I was young, I don't think I let those mistakes ferment properly, and I made the same mistakes again. What did you learn permanently from that? What did you learn from Rich?
Well, we had no job costing. We didn't know any of our hours. That was number one. We had no estimating software. We were doing it on pen and paper and whiteboards. That obviously I still miss the whiteboards. I think we all do. Um, and just making sure we're pricing right and knowing our numbers. And Rick was or is a numbers person, and it was all about profit, G&A overhead, direct costs, and I never knew any of that. And he taught me all of that.
Well,
And
God,
I give him a lot of kudos because without him, I probably wouldn't be where I am
yeah,
today.
God bless Rick. That's
Yeah,
that's fantastic. That's just so when you bid the job, you just guessed. You really didn't have any, you were just kind of guessing, playing Russian
exactly.
roulette per se.
Exactly.
Yeah. I know in your peer group, because I hear what goes on in them. I know you've had a lot of personal changes that you've made in your life that have made you a better person and a better leader at Cole Landscaping. I have seen it, and oh, it's amazing. And I wanted you in one of our peer groups for probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 years before we finally got you to join. I remember meeting you for the first time. I enjoyed your company. I liked what you had to say. And for some reason, you were hesitant to join, which is common. People they don't, for whatever reason, they don't understand the peer group. They erroneously think I got to get a bunch of stuff fixed before I go into the group. What what are the changes that happen? Because to me, you seem like a completely different person. You're still a nice, friendly guy. It's not that. But I just see a different focus from you in the last 5 years. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, I mean, I've had so much personal growth over the last 5 years, and it really started with you at Grow 2020. Um, Adam from, I think it was Dunright out of St. Louis, and
Right.
somebody
Nice
else,
guy.
very awesome man, and great company, by the way, challenged themselves to what's called a 75 hard challenge. And I
Right.
said, that night, I was just like, what is that? And I was up all night researching it. And 2 days later, I started the process. Um, which if anybody doesn't know, it's 2 workouts a day, a gallon of water a day, 10 pages of a self-improvement book, no alcohol, no cheat meals, every day for 75 days. It took me 120 days to complete it. So it tells you that when I
Yeah.
failed myself at day 51. That was really transforming my body and my mind. Then from there, I just started running, and it took me 6 months to run 1 mile. I was 104 pounds heavier back then.
Yeah.
Um,
104 pounds, folks. No Zempic,
Nothing.
no other artificial means or whatever you want to call it. It was just running and working out, right? So what did as you saw those 104 pounds melt away, what did that do to you mentally, physically, financially? How did this change your life?
Well, mentally, it puts you in a different state of mind to say, I've run 4 miles this morning. I've worked out a second time tonight. So it's taken, 2 hours in the morning or an hour at night, and you're using 2 or 3 hours extra a day that you don't think you have. And when you schedule yourself properly, you understand you have plenty of time. And it's just how you manage your day. And from there, I just was very clear. I wasn't foggy. My staff noticed it, and I was just happier all around.
When you say you know you have the time, elaborate on that a little bit. What do you mean? I think I understand, but I think there's a great maybe underlying lesson here around time management and what was the why to this. Just tell us about how you made the comment there, you don't think you have the time but you do. What do you mean? Tell us what you learned there.
So everybody, and this is going to sound very raw, right? Everybody has excuses. Hey, I couldn't get to it. I was doing this. I planned my day. I only got 10% of my day done. When you're diligent and you are disciplined to run your day, when you run your day, even if you get 75, 80% of your day done, that's 50, 60% more than you would normally do it. And you find a way. It's no different than you with your new granddaughter. You find a way to go see the family, spend time with them, and just be present someplace other than your desk or other than wasting time.
Well, it's so well said. And you know what it makes me think about, Greg, and we've talked about this. We've taught it at Grow. I think you and I have talked about this because I remember I hadn't seen you for like 6 months and I can't remember what event we were at. And I came up and I said, what in the world happened to you? And it wasn't just the physical, like you had less weight on you. It was also just your energy level and your spunk and everything was so much different. I think the clarity of purpose can be so powerful that if we have a why and we know why we're doing something, I want to go see my granddaughter in Connecticut. She's an hour and a half flight away into New York City and then a 40-minute drive. It's not insurmountable. I can do that. I can be organized. I can work and get there. I know I can. You're absolutely right. You can't make excuses and say they're too far. I want to go see my granddaughter. I want to go see my daughter. I want to go see my son-in-law, my golf buddy. I love hanging with them.
Yep,
So you're right that when that stuff gets clear, it does make a difference, doesn't it?
it does, but you have to write it down. And everybody says that. Write it down, write your goals on paper, OneNote, however you take notes. It is just so true. When you put it down on paper, you commit to it, and there's a level of accountability there.
And so you still do that. You still write that down. Is there something you do every day? Is it a day out of the week? Tell us a little bit about how you stay on this because that's not easy.
I have a tracker on my phone, and I have about 16 different points that I track every day. And some days I complete 40%, and some days I complete 100%. And
What
I
are
look
some of the things on the phone? Tell us.
well, eating right is
Okay.
number one. Working out, I still work out every morning for an hour and a half. Um, Drinking a gallon of water a day, I still do. Reading 10 pages every day. It might not be 10 pages, it might be seven, but it's something to better myself. Um, Spending time with my family is one of them. Um, Mentoring somebody at work every day. So what I try to do is help somebody out that they didn't think they needed help with, or they're struggling with something every day,
Yeah.
and moving the business in a positive direction daily.
And is this an app you're using or you just have it on your notes? It's just a
No,
checklist?
it's an app that I'm using. It's
Okay.
called Habit Tracker.
Habit tracker. I've seen it. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. I do a similar thing. Like I use OneNote and I have a check in. I have things I do every day. I have that I check off. I have things I do every week. In fact, full disclosure, inside baseball, Vince is actually helping me with my duties for each company because my role has kind of changed a little bit. I'm actually more in a mentorship and a true CEO's role, or maybe not even a CEO, to be honest with you anymore, Greg, more of a mentoring role.
Yeah.
And I struggled with that. Like, I'm overstating my value if I thought I had to be here every day, but I also know I have a lot to help. I have a lot to offer and I have a lot of ways I can help. But if I'm not intentional about it, it seems like your days just kind of get away from you. The the 10-minute conversation with the vendor that stops by turns into 45 minutes, and you do that twice a day and there goes an hour and a half. It's not easy to lose the time. And my wife is still in Connecticut. I'm by myself, and I did a list over the weekend on every day of what I wanted to get done. And last night I got home at 4:30. I walked 5 miles. I lifted weights.
Nice.
I went and had a healthy dinner by myself. And I got home and I'm like, God, I'm tired. And I looked and I had all these little honey-do things that I had to do: change light bulbs, um, fix something on my wife's car that I think it was I had to switch the license plate tag on. I had to take the cover off, put the tag on. It was all these things, and there was about seven of them, and I got about three into them, and I'm like, darn it, I am checking off this list tonight. I am getting it, and I got it all done. I got into bed at 9:30 right from doing them all, and I went right to sleep. But I woke up this morning with this, like, it sounds kind of silly and trivial, but a sense of accomplishment. Is that kind of what you go through?
It is. It's motivating.
Yeah,
I'm a high D personality, so I love to check things off my list. And when I can hit that button, I hear that little ding. Oh my gosh, it's a good feeling. And then when I look back
yeah.
at yesterday and I see it completed like you did, it's energizing.
Yeah, I know, and it sounds so silly. I hope our listeners here on the Grow Show today, powered by Stihl, we've got Greg Cole from Cole Landscaping with us. I hope you'll try some of these things. It sounds a little bit weird, like Greg and I are geeks. I'm older than Greg, but we're
Not
not. Yeah, we're not geeks, man. This stuff works, and as I listen to you, it's just kind of more, quite frankly, motivation for me that I hear you're doing all this. Your great attitude and everything, where does that come from? I know things kind of change, but I didn't know you 20 years ago. So I don't know, like, was this good attitude always in you, and the business and the extra weight kind of drug you down and now you're back, or where did all this come from? Talk to us a little bit about that.
I don't know. You're a technician and trying to run a business, and you're working 12, 14 hours a day. You stop at McDonald's, Wendy's, wherever your hangout is, and you don't eat right, you don't plan right, and next thing you know, you're getting mad with your employees because things aren't going right, and you're micromanaging them, and you just get to a point in your life and you just say there has to be a better way. And that happened for me in 2018. And in 2018, I made a commitment to myself to change my life and change my business. And I feel that I've accomplished probably about 60% of what I want to right now. And I'm always evolving. I never liked change before, and I absolutely love change right now. And I love watching my people grow, and that gives me such energy. to see somebody come in off the street that's never sold landscape before, and then he sells $1 million his first year. It's just, it's amazing to watch that growth.
Right.
And
I can relate to what you're doing. I mean, you drink sugary drinks, you eat fast food because you don't think you have time to make something healthy and carry it with you in your truck, and you put 5 pounds on a year, and 10 pounds 10 years later you got 50 pounds on. It's not hard at all. July or June 1st, I weighed in at 213 pounds. I'm at 193 now. I'm trying like heck when I jump up on stage at Grow February 24th, 25th, 26th, Columbus, Ohio, to weigh in at 189. I haven't weighed 189 since I was probably 32 years old. So, and I'm motivated. This is very cathartic for me to listen to you. So thank you.
but you
Um,
have so much more energy now, don't you?
I do have more energy. I've always had energy, but I mean, I really feel good now. I do. It's like, and that is motivation enough to stray away from the glazed donut or the cheeseburger and all that stuff. It does. Again, it gets back to a similar premise in business that when you're focused on who your ideal client is and who that ideal team member to serve that ideal client, when you focus on the right things, it's amazing how the other things in your business and the parallels in life, they just kind of work out.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
You seem to have another ace or a local business person visit you every week. You're an open book. You are, and it's awesome when I see you sharing because I follow you on social media, and Vince has told me numerous times how fond he is of you and how open you are to sharing. You have little guys come see you, big guys come see you, members from your peer group come see you.
Yeah.
What is this philosophy all about? What do you get out of it?
I mean,
I mean, I know what you get out of it, but I want everyone to hear this.
I think as you get older, you want to give back. And I've taken a lot through my career with help with other people. And I just feel that it's time for myself to give back. And I enjoy seeing people come visit us and we visit them. Um, ACE has meant, I'm going in year three, I think, Marty. Is that
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
three or
A,
four, maybe four, Greg.
might be. ACE has
Yeah,
meant so much to me. And you know, Ross and Kevin from Oasis down in Atlanta, David Amigo from G&G in Charlotte, Tony from Angelo's in Baton Rouge, and all my other ACE members.
boy, you got a
Uh,
great group. Those are nice gentlemen that are family oriented and
yep,
funny and aggressive and all the boxes.
yep. And they just want to grow, and they've brought me to a whole new level, business and personally. I mean, my daughter wouldn't be going to High Point if it wasn't for David Amigo,
Yeah,
and I've just learned so much. So I wanted to take that environment and bring it down a little more intimate. And what we do is we have people come up and see us, usually on a Sunday. We spend a day together personally. We'll be out and we went out to Boston. They tour our facility
yeah,
and they do the morning rollout. They watch the stretch and flex. They see everything that happens in the morning. We do town halls all day with all my key members of my staff and
love it,
departments.
love
And
it.
then we go out to dinner as a team together that night. And then the next day they come in, we do a start, stop, keep, and they're out the door. They're out the door by
Yeah,
11
so
a.m.
very very similar to what our peer group meetings are.
And in that intimacy that we have, I've learned so much, even from the smaller, $1.5 million companies that were with us. I've learned just so much
What
from
do
them.
you learn from the small guys? Because I have a perspective I want to share, but I want to hear what you have to say about that. Why would you have somebody that has a company a fifth the size of yours come in?
So fifth the size of us. So we just had somebody that toured us is about a little over 1 million, and they had this whole pressure washer set up at their facility. They showed us. It was in a locked gate, hot gun. All the crews had to do was pull it out and wash their trucks. We adopted that now.
Wow.
I've learned that from a $1.1 million company. The guys over at Summit Landscaping in Texas, I took
Yeah,
their career
great
ladder.
boys. Yep.
Unbelievable. I took their career ladder and I called them
Yeah.
up and were you willing to share that? And they're like, yeah, I'll send it to you.
They were host to Grow in 2023, I believe.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Yeah. Great boys. It's funny. So I have a friend, I don't want to say his name because he's a big hitter, you know him. and he was in a peer group with huge companies. Like I think his company at 40 million was the smallest one in the group. And he quit the group. And I said, Ben, why did you, I changed his name, by the way, it's not Ben. I said, Ben, why did you quit the group? He's like, I mean, the guys were nice and it was a fun social hour. And we talk about captives and their retirements and exit strategies. He goes, but they didn't know anything about what was going on out in the field. He's like, I couldn't take it anymore. Like, I gotta find out what's going on where the tire hits the road. And I said, well, Ben, what do you mean? He goes, well, where do you make and lose the most money? I said, well, in the field. He goes, yeah, exactly. I want to know what kind of mower you're running. I want to know your truck setup. I want to know your trailer setup. I want to know where you're using robotics or you're doing this, you're doing that. He goes, I don't want to lose touch with the business like it's landscaping. Okay. He's like, we're not running an investment bank here. And gosh, when he said that, Greg, I was like, wow. First of all, to humble yourself, to realize you can learn from the small person, you can. There are things that when you get to be your size or my size, you take for granted. And that's dangerous. It is so good to talk to smaller companies. First of all, most of them have a ton of enthusiasm and to see what they're struggling with.
And most new companies are tech heavy.
Yeah,
They, they'll embrace
because
the
they
tech.
get it. That's another good point. Right.
I'm learning from that.
Yeah. Where do you see Cole Landscaping 5 years from now? And how specifically are you helping the team get to that point?
So right now, we just reset our 10-year target because we are an EOS company, on-shingle operating systems. Um, and everybody has to set their goal and their BHAG. We set ours at 25 mil by 2034.
You
Um,
can do it.
we're going to do it, hands down,
Yeah.
we're going to do it. We have the facility to do it. We're looking at a satellite facility right now. Um, so we will get there. What am I doing to help my team get there? Um, I'm more in the background, making sure the kits are all done and our estimating software correctly. I'm looking at high level numbers with my integrator. She's very numbers driven, and we meet for 2 hours every week and just really dive into the company. And then I can share that through EOS with my teams. And we have, I think, about 13 or 14 teams within Cole right now. And then we share that information with what's called headlines through the
Okay.
different teams. So all my teams are synced together and we all talk the same language. We have the same meeting cadence. So that way, if we go into an equipment meeting or a leadership meeting, it's all the same agenda. So I try to systematize every single thing we do.
That makes sense. You just mentioned technology. You're younger than me, but I
Not
bet
by
when you
much.
started, well, no, but that's okay. We're close. I bet you didn't start with technology. How does technology play a role in Cole today?
So I'm going to back up. My first software was 1998. It was a Windows-based program pointed to DOS.
Oh, geez.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we would lose so much information. We
Yeah.
ran that up until and through 2018. And I knew I needed to make a change in my business. That was the year that I was making all my changes. And I sought out three different companies for software. And we ended up going with what we felt was the most popular. And I think we both use it,
Hmm.
Aspire software.
Yep. Great product.
We've been on the Aspire platform now for 5 years. And after year one, we just started rocking and rolling with tech. Everything was tech. Before 2019, my biggest tech was email and a
Yeah.
program that would crash every few hours. And we just scaled tech, and that's how we grew. So it doesn't matter
Right.
to us in yourself if it's a $500,000 job or a $5,000 job. I can write it in Columbus, Ohio, or I can write it in Boston. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Client doesn't know the
Right.
difference.
Right. Well, you've done a nice job with that. What advice would you give the 25-year-old version of yourself? Like if you could go back, yeah, we'd all like to go back. When my late great aunt passed away in 1986, but she used to always tell me she was very instrumental in helping me get my business started. She was quite an entrepreneur. She used to say, "Marty, hindsight, that's good stuff."
Yeah.
And I love that. It's of course hindsight's good stuff, but it's when we look back, it's amazing how smart we are, huh?
It's amazing what we used to do compared to what we
Yeah,
do today.
yeah. What
Um,
would you tell the 25-year-old version of Greg Cole?
I mean, it's going to sound, I don't know how it's going to sound, but you know, if I was to tell myself back 25 years ago, what was my vision for the company? What was my big hat, my BHAG, my big hairy audacious goal? It might have been 1 million back then. It might have been 2 million, just whatever it was. And if they had social media back then, don't go on social media and be jealous of what company X is doing down the street.
Yeah,
Set your goal and compete with yourself every day. Don't compete with anybody
that
else.
is leadership gold right there, folks. And it is easy to do. I go on LinkedIn, I see companies far larger than ours doing things, and I've learned to say good for them. I can't do that yet. I still have I still have a ways to go. I still got to go, and that's what drives me. But you're so right to tune that out. What else?
I mean, when you beat your goal, celebrate it. I was so guilty of not celebrating the wins, and that affected my team and my culture. I am huge on culture and Cole. Um, and if you don't hit your goal, you as the owner, whoever set the goal with your team, take responsibility. And really, I use that anger inside me to drive success.
Yeah.
So I take the negativity and I turn it into a positive and just push as hard as I can. And I think that's the biggest thing that people miss is, hey, if I miss your goal, it's okay. We all learn. But take that miss, take that loss and learn from it and use it to drive you forward.
When you say you're big into culture, what do you mean by that? Give us some background on what you mean by that.
We spend a lot of money on employee extras. And what I mean by that is just not the everyday stuff, the Dunkin' Donuts, the pizzas, things like that. We do a ton of training.
Okay.
We go to Grow, we go to all the other shows that we able on our portfolio to go to. Um, but we also, I am out there almost every morning giving high fives. I don't direct anybody. I think they changed all the codes on the loaders, so I can't drive them anymore.
Okay.
Um, but I'm just there to give high fives and ask them how their day was, talk about their family. Um, we do circle checks every morning, so every single truck that goes out of here, it's an electronic system that we tag every single truck and we do a circle check on it. And we also do
Wow.
stretch and flex in the morning. It was something it took us a long time to adopt, but when we adopted it, oh my God, what a game changer.
How
It has.
so?
So when you get up in the morning and you come to work and somebody just hands you whatever, a tablet, paper, whatever you do, and you're out the door, there's no sense of culture there. We get everybody together. We have soccer balls flying everywhere. We have some footballs flying everywhere in our garage. Everybody's laughing, having a good time. Then somebody leads the stretch and they're playing their favorite music. And you have 65 guys on the ground doing push-ups in the garage. Some guys can do them, some guys can't. You get these wacky stretches that people do, and everybody's laughing and having an unbelievable time. And to start your day that way, and you go out the door, how better to start your day in a positive mood?
Yeah, we found the same thing, Greg. We started doing a stretch and flex during COVID, and right when we started implementing Aspire in the first quarter of 2020, and we won't ever go back. The camaraderie, the positive peer pressure for coming to the circle on time,
Yeah,
the ability that maybe the day before somebody got hurt lifting a tree the wrong way, we address it immediately. Maybe we got two compliments came in, we read them. Maybe
yeah.
we got a complaint. We don't put anybody on the spot, but we say, hey, we got a complaint yesterday that we didn't blow off the back decks at this HOA. Just want to remind everybody, like, that's very expensive to send somebody out there. We can't be doing that. Let's make sure we're slowing down. It's a great 7 minutes that we spend there that it's very expensive because in our circle we have as many as 90 people in the circle, and I'm looking out there and it's cha-ching,
Yeah.
cha-ching, cha-ching, but it just seems like it's a sharpening the saw type perspective that makes the day go better.
I will tell you our injury rate, our any accident rates in our vehicles, our um, client satisfaction has gone up. I
Yeah.
can't exactly measure it 100%, but I know it's gone up. And we have a positive culture, and that's what it
Yeah.
comes down to.
Yeah. Right. Well, lot to learn. I always like to joke that the first four letters of the word culture are cult, and there can be, there can be good cults too.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So, all right, I want to. We're getting ready to finish this up. You
Okay.
do some pretty cool things about how you give back. Talk to us a little bit about how you give back.
Personally, I've run Boston twice, and a good
The
friend of mine.
Boston Marathon.
Yep, Boston
Yep.
Marathon twice. I was very fortunate to run. I ran last year in 2023. I raised 32,000 for mental health.
Yep.
Mental health is very near
Amazing.
and dear to my heart. Um, and this year, I was very fortunate to run with my 18-year-old daughter. And
I saw
to,
the pictures. They were awesome.
to realize how old you are is to run with an 18-year-old young lady.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we raised 38,000 this year for mental health together. Um, I'm heavily involved. I'm going to be back involved this year with the Boston Marathon. It's just a great community. I love the people. I love the camaraderie there. I've learned a lot from them personally. Um, as my business,
What have you learned?
when I first met my coach, he had me run around the track three miles. And his first words out of his mouth were, "There's people that aren't able to run, and you are. Be extremely grateful for what you can do in your life." And I never understood that. And I started meeting Team Hoyt and a lady that's run like 7 marathons and 7 days on 7 continents. And just the people you meet, it makes you grateful for what we have personally. There's people out there that they can't walk, they can't feed themselves, and they're happy. If I turned around and said to myself, if I couldn't feed myself, would I be happy? I'd say no. But these people were happier than I am. And I took so much positive energy away from that, and very fortunate to what I have in my business and my family.
Yeah. And I think all those, one of my buddies is sending his teenage daughter on a mission trip by herself, and he was talking about why he was doing it, and he wants her to see another side, and he's excited for how her perspective what it will be when she comes back. I think they all fall into the category of what you're talking about when you look at someone. I flew back from New York City Sunday afternoon, and there was a gentleman on my flight that was in a wheelchair, and they had to take him on, pick him up out of the chair, put him in there. He was saying hello to everybody that came on the plane. I looked at him there dragging those legs around, and I'm like, gosh, I need to make sure that I'm staying positive too here. So um,
And
it's
we worry about the crew that comes in 10 minutes late, and you get so
yeah,
aggravated, and
right,
you're going to blow a gasket, and you start thinking
right,
about what you just learned
right.
personally, and you're like, that's nothing.
Yeah, but I think, Greg, it's easy to fall into that trap if you don't have a checklist or something in front of you that can, reorient your compass or whatever, keeping you on the same path. I like to every day just type something in my OneNote that I'm grateful for. Now, I got so much right now that I'm grateful for when you have a granddaughter come into the world and you see everyone's okay, and you see what a blessing it is, and it is a life-changing moment. When you have a child, it's a life changing moment. When you have a grandchild, it's a life changing moment. When you see someone struggling and you realize you don't have it that bad. I mean, those are all things I think that are good experiences for us.
I would fully agree.
Really enjoyed having you on here today. Earlier, you mentioned you're going to send some folks to Grow. I know this is self serving, but I think it's important because there's a lot of people listening to the Grow Show powered by Stihl, Greg. They don't really know what Grow is. And, we've been doing it 30 years. We'll have 1,000 landscapers with us in Columbus.
Yeah.
Again, February 24th, 25th, 26th. Can you tell everyone why you keep coming back?
I love grow the environment. There's 900, 1,000 different contractors, people there that are just true professionals. They just want to grow. They want to learn, and For some reason, our industry, we love sharing information, and that's great. So when I go to grow, I'm talking to people. I may make half my classes, and then I'm talking and networking and learning as much as I possibly can. And
Right.
for my staff to come with me, they see a different side of the industry. And everybody that I brought, I think we brought 5 people last year or 4 people last year. We're going to bring
Right.
another 5 this year. Um, when we come back, they have to do a presentation to my whole company of what they learned. And always they learn something. They
Yeah.
always learn something.
Yeah. Well,
So,
we're going to keep working hard on that. I want to thank you. You have sent me probably 2 of the coolest videos I've gotten in the last year.
okay.
One was of your ACE group at your house in your backyard in the pool, blasting my favorite song,
Don't
Grunderstruck
blast
by
that.
AC/DC. No, I won't, but that was a great video. And then the other one that was so flattering was the video you sent me of your leadership team watching the Grow Show powered by Stihl up on
Yep.
your big screen TV in your conference center. I appreciate you sharing. I appreciate everything you've done for me. You've become a great friend. Of course, the Grow Group is a capitalistic endeavor. We do this to make money, but the main reason we do it is to impact lives. And you are helping us impact lives by putting your story out today. You're helping us impact lives by being an important member of a peer group. You're helping us impact lives by having people that we don't even know come to your facility and teach them and help them get better. You mentioned earlier here that our industry is a sharing one. It is. It's amazing. And God bless you, Greg Cole. You're a good egg.
Same to you. And I just love what you're doing for the industry, and just keep it up, because what you've done with Grow and what you've done with the ACE network is, there's nothing out there like it. And thank you
Well,
for everything you do. That means so much to me to be part of your world and this community.
you're a good man. I appreciate you very much. So you have a good rest of your day, and keep working on that checklist, and don't run too fast, and don't lift too much.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Marty.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for this week's edition of The Grow Show powered by Stihl. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to The Grow Show. And if you can, give it a rating or share a comment. That helps more success-minded landscape professionals find us. And if you really want to help us, share this episode with your team or any landscape pro you know. Take your phone out right now and text it to them. Thanks for joining us on The Grow Show powered by Stihl this week. We'll see you next week. And don't forget to check out Grow 2025 in Columbus, Ohio, February 24th, 25th, 26th. We do expect a complete sellout for this one, folks. So go sign up right now while it's fresh in your mind. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Grow Show. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and head to growgroupinc.com for more information and resources to grow your landscaping business. A special thanks to the folks at Stihl, whose support makes this podcast possible and whose reliable handheld power equipment makes our jobs easier daily. We'll talk to you next week.